It's Christmas Eve, and as you can see, I'm in a different location. This is my other spot. I've mentioned it before that my partner and I kind of live side by side in a way, although I do sleep here every night, and this is where I eat all my meals. When I met him, he lived here. This place is only about 420 square feet, pretty small, and I did live with him here for a time, and that kind of sucked. But the place next door opened up, and I grabbed it. So my place is about 500 square feet. That's where I usually film, and I basically keep that as an art studio. So I have my creative space over there, just a door down the alley. And my partner has his creative space out here. He has a big outdoor workshop, and there's also a greenhouse. Anyway, he's out of town. It's Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. This is the first Christmas that we have been apart, and we've been together for 11 years. He's in Michigan visiting his identical twin. Normally, I really like it when he goes out of town. It just, gives me a chance to miss him, really. I like it. It feels nice to miss him. And just to be even further immersed into my own world, which I always am anyway. I'm pretty introspective all the time. So I get a lot of solitude anyway, but I go a little bit deeper into it when he's out of town. So that's not really why I'm down. I was actually really looking forward to this time. I love the end of the year. I love introspection, and that is all a little bit more amplified at the end of the year as I try to get clarity on how I want to proceed in the next year. I love to set goals and make resolutions, and one of the reasons I love it is because I've had some success with achieving goals and just made me sort of a goal setter. If you have success with something like that, it makes you want to aim higher and higher. Well, this year there has been one thing I've been reflecting on that is just really draining me. All year I worked on this problem and I didn't find a resolution. Now, normally if I have a problem that's sort of nagging me, what I do is write questions in my journal, and then the answers will come. It could be in a dream, or a lot of times when I'm running, then I'll get an idea and answers will start to come to me. But this year I've been thinking about this one dilemma all year and answers haven't come, and I feel practically tortured by it. So here's the dilemma. In the past, I was really closed in. I was, very daydreamy and introspective, and I was enjoying my imagination and problem solving and artistic endeavors in my mind. I wasn't actually creating projects in the physical world. I was just dreaming about ideas. And I was getting older and older. And I had a lot of good ideas, but I wasn't really producing anything great or working on anything great. I was just sort of running my small business and daydreaming a lot. And the people who are close to me always say, that's a great idea. Why don't you execute that in real life? This and that. Why don't you start an Etsy store? Why don't you, all kinds of things. About 3 years ago, I started to do that. I started to actually execute my projects in real life. So I did open an Etsy store. I have this YouTube channel. I also have my original YouTube channel, which is my Bright Star Massage channel, which is connected to my business. It's really just for business purposes. At the moment, it's lacking identity. So that channel needs an identity and a purpose. I really just created it to be connected to my website to sort of boost my Google ranking, but I really could be doing something so much more with it. But I have the Etsy store now. I have like 6 social media accounts. I don't know how this happened, but it's a lot to manage. I feel like I'm spinning a lot of plates. I know a lot of people have sort of conflicted feelings about social media. It never really bothered me when it was just my personal social media. It connects me to people that I went to high school with, which was, over 20 years ago. And I think it's so cool that we're connected because I thought I lost track of all of them. So for me, when I'm on Facebook and Instagram, it kind of feels good. It doesn't make me feel bad about myself or, whatever. I get annoyed by opinions. Everybody has an opinion, and some opinions are obnoxious. I think that's normal. But now that I have business accounts on social media, my business Instagram and my business Facebook, and I feel obligated to post daily, now I feel bad about social media. It just feels like such a burden, and I wonder if it matters. And I feel this pressure to be authentic, but not too authentic. And it's just really a drag. I'm really afraid to be completely authentic the way that I am with this channel. I don't feel like some of the things that I talk about on this channel are appropriate for my massage therapy business. My clients don't necessarily want to know how, pessimistic I am and that I kind of have a hard time. Although I think it is valuable to share that, but it just has to be packaged the right way. I don't want to just like be a drag all the time. I do it here and it's sort of at the same time kind of relaxed and lighthearted and tongue-in-cheek. Anyway, in January of 2019, I read this book called Essentialism by Mckeown. I'll put a link in the description. It's a great book. Some phrases from the book that sort of ring in my mind are making a millimeter of progress in a million directions. That's my life right now. So many creative projects, and it's really too many. I can't be effective because my energy is scattered in too many places. Another phrase from the book that rings in my mind is, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. Now, the whole premise of the book is about ruthlessly stripping things away that are not the best use of your energy. Now, like I said, this was never an issue for me my whole life until about 3 years ago when I opened the Etsy store and I started doing creative projects. Then I got into the YouTube channel and I read this book, Essentialism, in January, and it really made an impression on me. And I thought, this is important. I need to understand this and implement this in my life. I need to get ruthless and strip some of this bullshit away and just have these tight bubbles of focus on projects and really put all my energy behind them and be effective, one project at a time. So what did I do? I added a second YouTube channel. I started working with ceramics again. I now have a potter's wheel and a completely different section in my Etsy store. So much so that my Etsy store is kind of disorganized. I really am wondering, do I need 2 Etsy stores? Now, if I have 2 different Etsy stores, do I also need yet another fucking social media account? I mean, I have the Handsome Annie Instagram account, which I'm not even using because I don't have time. I'm so busy with the Bright Star Massage account. Does any of this matter? Is it even effective to post on social media? Do I care? So throughout the year, I've just thought of so many solutions to this problem. Somehow I added more projects and I don't know what to let go of. One thing that I love is how everything really is connected, The ideas that I'm talking about here on this channel, I wouldn't deliver them in this way on my Bright Star Massage channel, but they are valuable. Talking about mental health and how to get clarity, which is what I'm trying to do right now, desperately before the end of the year. It's Christmas Eve 2019, and I would just like to be clear by January 1st. I want to know what my goals are and what action steps I'm going to take to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. That's a valuable thing to talk about. It just needs to be packaged differently for the Bright Star Massage channel. So one thing I've thought about is that it's good to process things here. I like processing here. And maybe people are watching. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they get value out of it and sometimes they aren't. It really doesn't matter to me. Honestly, there's no agenda here. But to process things here and then polish them and repackage them and deliver them on my Bright Star Massage channel as, something that's ready. I'm ready to blast. I've processed this. I've thought about it. I'm ready to share what I've learned. That seems like a good plan. And as far as my Etsy store, I make these patches. I print images onto fabric. This is one of my most popular patches. It's a Glencairn whiskey glass. All I did was pour a glass of whiskey in this glass, take a picture of it, and print it onto fabric. And then I made a patch. It's backed with felt, and it's got some decorative stitching, and it has iron-on adhesive. Another one, these are unfinished. These are like backed and ready to go, so that if somebody orders them, I can, easily stitch them and put adhesive on and cut them out and ship them. This is a little cowboy. It's my father when he was, 2 or 3 years old, playing dress up as a cowboy. This is probably my most popular patch. People order those. So anyway, I started working with ceramics too. I make these ceramic earrings. And I thought this is a disaster. These are 2 different stores. Now I have a second Etsy store on my hand. I can't handle this. But, what my mind does is put everything together. And I really do see that everything's related. And it just so happens that you can actually print photographs onto ceramics. As I've done my experimentation, I've run into some bugs with that, but I know that it can be done. You use this antique cyanotype process where you can actually print images onto ceramics and fire them in the kiln. And, you just have these beautiful blue or russet colored photographs printed directly onto ceramics. So I can marry these two ideas together. It's just taking some trial and error. This process is fast. I can take a photograph and turn it out into a patch very quickly. Ceramics is slow. There's so much trial and error. I guess I'm kind of bummed out this Christmas Eve because I worked so hard to arrange it so that I would have 3 days off in a row. And I'm basically all alone. I do have a family get together tomorrow morning on Christmas morning with my sister, nephew, mom, brother-in-law. But other than that, I have all this time. And I worked so hard with my massage business marketing to have this time set up to just be creative and live in that artist world and, maybe work on my Etsy store and organize it a little bit online and just work with clay and, just relax and not even think about business. And I really tried to do that. But the thing is, I can't get away from it. Man, it's just running a small business is just, it's so hard. Right now I'm firing my kiln. I'm making these 2 piggy banks for my nephew. I'm only giving him 1. I made 2 just in case one fails because ceramics is so unpredictable. So anyway, those are firing in the kiln. And I was planning on just making art all day long. But I went over to my studio and it just isn't organized, And I'm thinking of, what would Jordan Peterson say about my dilemma? He would say, clean your damn room, Start there. The kiln was firing all day and I didn't make art. What I realized was once again, I need to rearrange my studio because there are so many things that I want to do. I want to practice guitar every day. That's non-negotiable. I need all that equipment to be set up. I need the comfortable chair to be, ready and not have dirty clothes thrown on it. I need the guitars to be hanging on the wall and, ready to be picked up and played. I want to make ceramics. So I need my ceramic area to be organized. And, remember, I'm doing this in about 500 square feet. So it's not super easy to organize all this and make it functional. I also, occasionally get orders for these patches, and that's totally unexpected. I could get an order at midnight on a Tuesday, and then I gotta ship it out the next morning. So I need to be ready to print it and stitch it and, do all that stuff. A lot of times I have these all finished and ready to go, so it's just a matter of packaging them and sending them out. But the ink is $167 a gallon. So sometimes if someone orders something that isn't super popular, then I might need to print it. I'll just take the negative from my file cabinet and actually have to print it on the fabric and make the whole thing and ship it out. So I need all that stuff ready to go, and it takes up space. I've tried so hard to be ruthless and eliminate something. I've tried to tell myself, just forget the Etsy store. Don't do it anymore. It's not really that profitable anyway. And then I've swung completely in the other direction and said, no, what you really need to do is promote the Etsy store. In addition to posting on Instagram, you need to learn Pinterest and you need to pin every day. I'm really organized and I'm committed and I'm very productive, but there just are not enough hours in the day. And at the same time, I can't seem to let go of any projects. This book, Essentialism, I read it 3 times. I read it 3 fucking times. I kept thinking I would get it somehow, it would click, and then it would be clear and I would know what to eliminate or how to combine things together so that they're, cohesive and I can get my energy moving in one direction so that I can be more effective. Man, I just really wanted to have this figured out by 2020. I cannot believe I'm still working on this problem that I started working on last January. Because normally I ask myself for answers and I'm an excellent problem solver and I solve problems, but honestly, I just don't know. I don't know what to let go of. And some people would just put all of their energy behind the massage therapy business. They would just sing this one note for a couple decades. And I do love giving massages. And the fact that I don't want to constantly hustle and I don't want that to be my entire life does not mean that I don't care about that work. I guess I just thought that if I was organized enough and, hustled some for a period of time and set it up really organized and really tight, that I would also have time to do things like the Etsy store or the YouTube channel. I'm trying to find a way to make it all work, and I'm trying to find a way to make my massage therapy business work without me working on it constantly. I don't want to hustle every single day. I really don't want to. I want to find the right kind and amount of hustle, and I want to make it work. Still struggling with that, and time is running out because 2019 is almost over. I'm going to spend this 3 days off organizing my studio, and then maybe on New Year's Day, I'll get around to making some art. Maybe I'll have more clarity by then, and maybe I'll feel more settled about all of this. But anyway, Merry Christmas. There's 2 dogs here, so I'm not all alone. Hey, Cedar. Kisses.